Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. In today's video, we've got a new rugged phone. You already know that rugged phones are built to take hits. They're much tougher. And above all, they're made for people who like to go outdoors, who enjoy doing activities outside the house, with which the chances of hitting our phone and it getting damaged increase. In this case, we're going to look at the Ulefone Armor 18T, a phone that stands out mainly for leaning more toward the premium end. As you've seen on the channel before, rugged phones usually stand out for battery life, toughness, and some extra feature, like a good flash, really loud speakers, or lots of positioning sensors. However, very few rugged phones perform well enough to browse lots of web pages or open a bunch of apps at the same time, or even perform tasks like gaming or using video editing apps, these kinds of things that require a powerful processor. Well, that's going to be one of the things that this Ulefone Armor 18T will stand out for. But it doesn't stop there. We're also going to have a dedicated connector for an accessory that I'll show you in the next video, and you'll see that it's amazing for complementing this phone. So with all that said, and after the introduction, let's review this Ulefone Armor 18T. Let's start with the aesthetics. A typical rugged phone always comes with a very tough case that covers the entire phone. It's made of a material that's somewhere between rubbery and plastic, which makes it very durable. Also, you'll see a lot of screws around the phone to make it much more durable. What's special about this phone is that it has small bumpers on each corner, so if you drop it, even the buttons won't get damaged. As for water and dust resistance, it has IP68 and IP69 ratings. You can notice this by the covers on both the headphone jack and the charging port, which is at the bottom and is USB Type-C. On the right side, you'll find the volume up and down buttons, as well as a power button that also includes a fingerprint sensor. On the left side, there is a tray for SIM cards. Specifically, it has a tray for 2 SIM cards. A multi-function button that you can configure with 1, 2, or 3 clicks. For example, I have it set so that with 2 clicks the flashlight turns on, but this is completely customizable. And then a specific Ulefone port for the accessory or accessories that can be connected to this phone, which I will show you in the next video. Size and weight of the device. We're going to have a 6.5 8-inch screen, which is quite large. And of course, it's quite heavy, about 400 grams, and that's how much this phone will weigh. On the back, we're gonna see the camera system. We have a very complete camera system with a feature that I hadn't seen until now. We have a main camera with artificial intelligence and 108 megapixels. You're going to see images that are truly spectacular. Then we have a camera that's meant for microscope use. That means we can put the phone right up against a surface and see it as if we were looking at it under a microscope. You'll also be seeing some images. For me, they're just amazing. I think this is the first phone where I've seen this. Damn, it's really cool, and there might be people who get a lot of use out of it. Finally, a thermal camera with a range from -10 degrees Celsius up to 400 degrees Celsius. We had seen this in some other phone, but what I've noticed in this one is that the performance is really good. I mean, it keeps calculating the temperature. I'm not sure how it works, but this camera performs far better than any other thermal camera I've tried. I mean, we'll notice it because as we move the device, it practically calculates the temperature in real time. On the front, we're gonna have a 32 megapixel camera, but as I always say, megapixels aren't everything when it comes to cameras. But you'll see in these tests here what the quality of this front camera is like as well. Let's talk a bit about the hardware. We'll start with the screen. A 6.5 8-inch screen. It's a large screen that features a 120 Hz refresh rate. You can set it to 60, 90, or 120 Hz. And it's important that you take a look at it in the display settings, because by default it's set to 60 Hz, and you have to manually switch it to 120 Hz. What is 120 Hz? Basically, it's the highest level of smoothness we have today on mobile devices. You'll especially notice this when you're scrolling on Instagram or on web pages. You'll see that the image is super smooth. The quality is full HD. Although we're going to have a widescreen format, the battery is 9,600 milliamp hours. This will basically give you battery life for 2 or 3 days of very heavy use. I've spent these past few days gaming and doing a lot of tests on the phone, the camera, and the thermal camera, and the battery drains really slowly. So you'll be able to get 2 or 3 days of very heavy use out of it. Plus, we also have a fast charger, a 67-watt one, which will charge the battery for us. It's obviously going to take a while because it's a really big battery, but it's going to charge it really fast. Plus, we're going to have a device with 512 gigabytes of internal storage. We're basically going to use it as if it were my computer. This Mac I have back here has the same capacity, and then we have 24 gigabytes of RAM. That's actually not true. It's 12 gigabytes of RAM, and we'll be able to use up to another 12 gigabytes of storage as if it were RAM. This is configurable. We can disable it because the performance of this small storage is going to be much slower than actual RAM, but there it is. If we want to open multiple apps at once or an application with a lot of data, we'll be able to do it. Also, a very positive point, connectivity. We're going to have Wi-Fi 6, that is, the latest Wi-Fi standard currently being used, which achieves the highest speeds. And we're also going to have 5G. That's something that's pretty rare in this type of phone, which is a bit more classic. They usually cut back on these kinds of modern features. However, this phone has 5G. So that's it, maximum speed on Wi-Fi and mobile data. Lastly, we have a MediaTek 7050 processor. It's going to be ready both for 4K recording and for handling 5G mobile networks. It's true that this isn't a high-end processor. It's not going to achieve the performance, for example, of the latest Samsung devices or an iPhone or others, but it's going to be in the upper mid-range. It's going to get pretty close to the high end. We see it in that smooth 120 Hz display I mentioned. And then in games, it's going to be a phone that we can use perfectly for gaming. As you can see, the performance is very good. That's something I've never told you about the other rugged phones. How is the performance of this phone? Well, as I mentioned before, it's upper mid-range. We're going to be able to run any type of application without any problem. Also, thanks to the 120 Hz screen, we'll get a very smooth user experience. As you can see, I've been browsing the internet, opening this option to explore a monument or a building in Google Maps, which uses a lot of resources. Even on my iPhone 14 Pro, it usually runs pretty slowly, but here it handles it without any problems. Also, you can see that I'm playing games without any lag at the screen's maximum refresh rate. So that's it. It's pretty much a high-end experience. All of this comes with software. It runs Android 13, which is basically the latest version of Android. I think Android 14 is already coming out on some devices. Of course, this will get updated, but for now it has Android 13. Also, the experience is not intrusive at all. Honestly, it's a very stock experience, very close to pure Android. We're going to have a swipe down from the top right where we have a quick settings panel with all the options we can activate. And from the left side, we'll have the typical notifications from any point. As you can see, the experience is that we swipe up from the bottom to see all the apps. If we swipe to the left, we'll see news. Well, all of this is a pretty classic Android. It's true that we notice we have a configuration layer in the settings. I really don't like all these yellow icons that show up here. Honestly, I don't think they look nice. It could allow us to customize them. I haven't seen a way to do it, but well, they're just the settings. We should go in there as little as possible, so it doesn't really bother me. I haven't mentioned it, but how do we unlock the phone? Well, we have several ways, of course. The typical security code. We have the fingerprint sensor I mentioned right where your thumb rests, and it's actually pretty fast. But in case this thumb is wet, dirty, or for example, if we're wearing gloves, we can press and use our face to unlock the device as well. So, facial recognition and fingerprint sensor, very complete. As for applications, we have a really clean phone. It comes with the thermal camera app, which is obviously necessary. And then there would be a toolbox with a compass, sound meter, protractor, plumb line, flashlight, barometer. This, honestly, is quite interesting to know, well, the altitude in meters where we are, and what the current air pressure is where we are. Well, for all of you who go out to the countryside, I'm sure this will be useful. Also, we have the option to set up the phone for seniors. For example, someone who isn't comfortable with so many menus and options, well, we'll have the option to set up an easy mode that, as you'll see, shows us the date, main apps like calendar, photos, contacts, camera, messages, and calling. That's it, the simplest thing we can find on the phone. If we exit in settings, we have the full Android again. I still need to talk about the multimedia section. The truth is that the screen looks really good. It's an IPS screen with full HD resolution. I mentioned it to you before, and as you can see in some of these videos, it really looks great. The brightness levels are very good. At home, for example, I have the brightness set to less than a quarter, approximately. And if you go outside, you won't even need to turn the brightness all the way up. So in this aspect, the screen is more than enough. The only problem I see with this phone in the multimedia section, we only have a speaker on the bottom part, so we won't have stereo sound, which honestly is something to appreciate in 2024. And finally, for all of you who want to head outdoors with this phone, you'll have the armor case available. This is basically a case that we're gonna put on the phone, and then we'll be able to attach it to different places. The option that caught my attention the most is this case with the carabiner. For example, if we're mountain climbing and we don't want to drop the phone, we want to take photos continuously and have it pretty handy, so we just put this case on the phone. It's very simple, it just has a clip here at the top. And then the carabiner would go on this rail on the back. There it would be fully attached. As you can see, it's not designed for rough use. Pulling hard could remove it. But to carry it attached to, for example, your belt or some hook you have on your jacket or backpack, it's really good. That way, we can comfortably take it out for photos and more. Additionally, this pack comes with a clip attachment, but to me, this one seems a bit less practical. Still, I'm sure all of you who head outdoors will find it useful. The one that really caught my attention is the carabiner. Many of you might be wondering what these pins here are for. Well, it's very simple. With an adapter like this one we have here, we're gonna put it on like this. We're going to be able to connect accessories, like this endoscope that Ulefone sent us. It's the Ulefone U Smart E03, a very simple endoscope. As you can see, it's simply this device here, with an accessory for the phone to attach it and have it serve as the display right away. To attach it, we just tighten this screw here. And the USB-C cable would now be perfectly connected. Now we secure the phone in this holder here. And simply by connecting this cable to the USB-C port on the endoscope, the application would open automatically. With it, we can investigate whatever we want. Imagine, right now, I'm showing you an image of my bed mattress with the furniture. Here you have the mattress. And here, if I turn to the other side, well, you're going to see the furniture. I can move it forward, and as you can see, the image is very good. Also, with these thumb buttons, we can adjust the intensity of the light. And from the top button, we can start a recording or capture an image. Also, from here, we can rotate the image in case it's not at a position we like. And we can also zoom in or control it with our fingers on the screen. As you can see, I use this dial here to rotate the endoscope and focus on whatever I want. So guys, the only thing left is to tell you the price. Of course, I told you this is the best rugged phone I've tried so far, with the best features, practically reaching the level of a high-end phone. Well, it's gonna cost money. It's going to cost around 500 euros. That's the price I'm seeing today, January 15th, but as we always say, we'll leave the link for you down in the description, both to the Ulefone page and to the page where we find this device at the lowest price. So go take a look because it's worth your while. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about this rugged phone, if you think it's an interesting phone. A very durable phone that also has very good performance. So with that said, I want to know your opinion. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And don't miss the next one where we're going to find out what can be connected to this port on the mobile phone. See you in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye.